Tuesday, November 12th, more than 100 students, parents, and advocates marched in support of the proposed $12 million a year Baltimore Youth Fund. The march began with a press conference at the Penn North Kids Safe Zone, just blocks from the epicenter of the uprising in West Baltimore, to the historic Frederick Douglass High School, led by the school's marching band. Shaheem McLaurin is student leader and executive director of Baltimore START Project.
I'm here today to advocate for the Youth Fund, which is 3% of the mayor's budget going to youth in Baltimore City youth programming. And I just think it's really important to invest in our youth as a whole in the city. I'm born and raised in Baltimore. I have gone through the process of growing up in Baltimore and seen how rough it can be and how necessary programming is. I have my own program, and I think it's really essential that people from the community get to be in control of these programming dollars and get a say in who gets them.
$12 million a year youth fund comes at a time of a record homicide rate and skyrocketing violence. While there have been many calls to increase funding for police, advocates say spending on youth helps address the root causes of violence.
It's just as simple as this. If we invest in our youth wouldn't have any reason to do anything other than succeed at what they want to succeed at. One of the problems is that we're so quick to throw our youth into prisons and jails that we refuse to look them in the face and see them as human beings. And that's why it's important that community members who have lived the lives of these youth can be in control of these programs that will help them better their lives, because people who can look at them and not relate to their backstories, their backgrounds, what they've been through and what they go through currently will never be able to fully understand and help these kids.
Zeke Cohen is city councilman and chairman of the Education and Youth Committee.
Baltimore is not broken. Our children are not thugs or super predators. What's predatory is a system that has devalued their lives. If we want peace, we need more than thoughts and prayers. If we want to end the violence, we need work, not words.
Erica Alston-Buck leads the Penn North Kids Safe Zone.
A Kids Safe Zone is a drop-in safe center for children. Nothing like it has ever existed, so we don't qualify for we don't fall into the wheelhouse for any foundation. All we do is create a safe recreational place where a kid can be a kid during out of school time. So we're open every day. And when school is closed, we're open at noon, because we know that a lot of kids go to school for gas and electric. They go to school for a hot meal. They go to school for air conditioning. They go to school for heat. So when those schools are closed, we need to provide those same services. So what we do is provide mentorship, organized sports, a computer lab, homework assistance, recreation, all of the things that children around the city have and deserve. Well, our kids deserve it too. But our neighborhood, our communities have been overlooked, abandoned, and neglected for centuries. So here we are, decades later, and just a stone's throw outside of the uprising, and nothing has changed or things have gotten worse.
Jack Young is city council president.
This is very important. It's historic. I think we're the only third or fourth city that have targeted funding for our youth, and I'm excited about that. Are you excited about that? Yeah. Okay. And Erica just spelled it all out. It was meant to get to grassroots organizations that's out doing the real community work. It's not going to exclude anyone who is a 501c3, but everybody is welcome to apply to get this funding as long as they're looking to take after our kids.
The city overwhelmingly voted to this. And previous mayor's veto was overridden, and now this is moving ahead. And in a city that's often criticized for investing street lights, and a city where they spend $500 million on policing and on courts, that this is sort of a new way to approach the role the public sector can.
Absolutely. Our kids are the most important investment. Our kids should be at the top of the list, and for so long we've been at the bottom of the list, or people that can write good programs that don't have children are receiving the funding. So yeah, it's needed.
Like the black butterfly and the white L, the disparities between employment, even life expectancy between this neighborhood and Roland Park, it's been like 20 years today. So how can this fund help address those really stark disparities that we know are a result of more than 100 years of public policy?
Well, one major part of that is just social equity. I remember, like, I talked about social capital and like the ability to move up the social ladder in the city being drastically lower than a lot of other places in this country. And these programs help to invest in youth in ways that the city schools can't do. And it gives students the tools that are necessary to like be able to build themselves up and build their communities up around them. A lot of the downfalls in life expectancy and things like that, such as poverty, come from the inability to be properly educated by our systems that are in place to educate us. And one of the things that this fund does is give students the ability to invest more in themselves and their communities as a whole.